Thank you very much. Time is now 7:30 p.m. This is the December 16th, 2021 work session of the Allendale Mayor and Council. Welcome to everyone joining us tonight in person at Borough Hall and those via Zoom. We ask that you please mute your devices at this time so as not to distract from the business of the meeting. And as always, there will be 3 opportunities for the public to be heard, and we will advise you at the appropriate times. Michelle, can you please read the Open Public Meeting Act announcement?
Sure. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year confirmed at the annual meeting are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year, and copies are sent to the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the December 14th, 2021 sunshine notice was sent to the record, Ridgewood News and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and borough website.
Great, thank you. Michelle, please conduct the roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan. Here. Councilman O'Connell.
Here.
Councilman O'Toole.
Here.
Councilman Sasso.
Here.
Councilman Strouch.
Here.
Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Here.
And Mayor Bernstein.
Here. Without further ado, we have a presentation tonight, which we're very happy to listen to. We're happy to welcome Superintendent Dr. Scott Beckerman of Northern Highlands, many of our alma maters. Mine, Amy.
Mine.
Matt, Tyler.
Jim.
Good to you.
Jim.
All right, Jim as well. Are we doing it?
I got 3 kids that went through.
Right. To give the governing body a presentation on their plans for upgrades at Northern Highlands. Dr. Prince as well. And there will be a referendum on March 8th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at which the public will have an opportunity to vote on this proposal. So without further ado, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate everybody having us here tonight. As you had mentioned, we're having a referendum on March 8th, and we just want to make sure the public is aware of what's in the referendum as well as what the cost will be to the local taxpayers. To give you a little bit of institutional knowledge how this referendum came to be, our baseball and softball fields are, we're having drainage issues that they're becoming unplayable. I actually have a picture up there, and for those that are in person, and you can see those brown spots in the middle. That's actually after 2 years of non-use. You'd figure the grass would be nice and grown in, but they are sinking. So we had an architect come in and provide us with what the drainage cost would be, as well as fixing the grass after we do that. And the price was pretty exorbitant. So while we were looking at fixing that, there are some other things that we needed to take care of, such as classrooms, because our population is growing. We needed to add some of those and some other items within the building. So we decided to go out for a referendum. Well, I'm going to go through the areas of the referendum, but one of the questions we continually get is why now? And as I had mentioned, we have those emergent needs. We have the needs of the future, such as building in all 4 of our communities, and we anticipate within the next decade upwards of 100 to 150 additional students at the school. So we are going to need additional classroom. And then right now, as you know, the rates for bonds are extraordinarily low. So we want to take advantage of those really low rates, which is why we're waiting. Which is why we're going out in March. The Department of Education did not approve our referendum proposal by November, so we couldn't get it on that. And we didn't want to wait all the way till next November to go out. So we figured a special election to get this out and to get those rates locked in would be in our best interest. So the project really encompasses 3 areas. We have the internals of the school building, and we're going to go over that. We have the fixing of the fields, the grass fields, which will become synthetic turf. And then we have where our old tennis courts were after we removed them. We always talked about what we'd be doing over there, and we're going to propose putting a field house there, and we're going to go over the field house. We got a lot of offsets from the Department of Education, so we'll also go through the funding of it. Because they funded 34% of several of those projects. So we do have the state helping us out with some offsets on the total cost of this project. So let's get started. So if I'm going to go, since I know there's a little bit of a time limit here, I'm going to skip around a little. And on the third page of the small one, or I believe it's the fifth page of the actual project, there's a little chart that actually goes over the cost. Net referendum total, it says, is 8.83 million. As I had mentioned, that's for all the projects. That is the anticipated cost. We cannot go over that, but if it comes in under that, obviously that money would go back to the taxpayers. The state, based on our proposals, said that they would pick up 1.1 million of that, which leaves us with 7.2. A little bit later on in the presentation, you'll note that we're also going to use $500,000 in capital reserve to get that down to about $7.2 million. We do have a referendum going off. So those bonds are coming off in June that will exceed those that we're asking to go on. So even with this close to $9 million referendum, the taxpayers will actually see a reduction in their bond taxes next year, which is an important piece to understand, is that you'll get all this and your taxes will not be impacted by it. They actually will go down at $3, but they will go down. So if you look at the capital projects, we'll start with the picture that's up on the chart over here, and that's the proposed synthetic turf. The first thing we have to do is, if you look at the picture on the handouts, you'll notice that there are two tarps that in the middle of the fields. That's actually where the drainage issues are. We have a stream that runs under our property. It's wetlands, actually the property next to that. That whole center section is sinking there. So what we're proposing doing is actually tearing up both baseball and softball fields, putting in all new drainage, fixing that, and then actually putting down a turf field, what we call sideline to sideline. So from home plate of the baseball field all the way to the home plate of the softball field, actual infields as well, because we're going to run practice fields and we're going to run a full field through, so that the younger students, younger children in all of our communities can use it, and we can get our Pop Warner programs on there. Right now, our band practices in the parking lot of the high school, and we're able to get them onto the actual field. But because we're going to use it for other things in baseball and softball, we really need to turf the infields too. Otherwise, those infields are going to get absolutely torn up. If you look at the next page, you'll actually see a sample of another school. No, we're not putting the Nutley logo on our field. But you'll see what I'm talking about, the sideline to sideline. So the infield is actually turfed as well. And that allows us actually to play across the baseball field without damaging the infield. And on ours, it would go all the way to the other side with the softball field. So we're actually going to be able to put a field and a half in there, which will allow a full game to be played, whether it be lacrosse or soccer or field hockey or any of the other sports, as well as have practice going on at the same exact time. So that'll be tremendous, not just for the high school, but with our new lighting system that the school put in. We can light those fields now, and we can actually have practice that'll go on until when the ordinance says the lights have to come off at night. So that'll be wonderful for us and for our communities. The next piece that we have is actually the interior of the building. And there are certain aspects of the interior of the building that are 50 plus years old, such as our art rooms. Actually, I'm going to shift gears and let me go to the field house, because some of the classrooms in the building are affected by the field house. So if I get the field house out of the way, the classrooms will make more sense. If you go to the old tennis courts that we now don't use because we just created the new ones last summer, we have 4 tennis courts over there that are sitting idle. What we're proposing is putting a field house on 1.5 of those courts. The other 2.5 are going to become green space. So we're going to be putting park benches and planting trees and grass. At the front of the property, we actually took some green space away to do those tennis courts. Now we're going to be replenishing that green space in a kind of a picnic area type of setting. The field house will actually be 2 stories, and I believe the next 2 slides are the field house. And it's about 3,800 square feet for each floor, which is about a tennis court and a half. And the first floor is going to have 2 team rooms. Right now, other than probably football, none of our sports use team rooms because it's just too far away from all of our fields. So halftime of soccer, they're not going to walk all the way across campus to use the locker rooms and then walk all the way back. They basically just sit on the field while they wait for the halftime to be over, and they have their meeting on the field. By putting this where it is, all of our sports and our band and everybody else will actually have a very close location for the team rooms. We also have Porto Johns all over our campus. We're going to be removing all of those. It's about time, right? Who wants the Porto Johns all over your campus? And we're going to be doing public restrooms with this. Those public restrooms will be accessible outside the school hours as well. So those who walk the track and use our tennis courts will have a location to go to. And then on the second floor, those are the big pieces on the first floor. On the second floor, we're relocating our fitness center. As I mentioned earlier, we have a growing population at Northern Highlands and our communities, and we need to get some classrooms back. About 15 plus years ago, we turned 3 classrooms into a fitness center. We're going to reclaim that space in the main building and move the fitness center to the second floor of the field house. Actually, those classrooms were so large that we're going to reclaim 4 classrooms and turn those 3 into 4. And at about 22 students, 20 to 25 in a class, you're talking about the ability for us then to grow by about 100 students without any issues. So that will help us out with some of this immediate growth over the next couple of years without having to worry about that piece. And there are some examples of the field house proposal, what our weight room looks like now. And if you have the pictures in front of you, you see the existing conditions. It's just a normal 10-foot ceiling because they were classrooms. And in the new one, we're talking about vaulted ceilings for better ventilation and more open space. So it'll also be a much more enticing environment, because remember, the fitness center is not just for sports. It's our PE classes. It's part of our wellness center. We have a wellness initiative going on. So we're trying to open up this space so that we can do spin classes for our phys ed classes, yoga area for our wellness initiative, and some other pieces. And that'll all be added into that area. So that is the second piece. And as I had mentioned, being able to reclaim those 4 classrooms is a part of our interior projects within the building, which leads me to the last part of this project. And I'm going to start off with the art rooms where I was before. And the art rooms are over 55 years old at this point. If you have the handout, and for those that are online, please know that you can actually pull this presentation up from the school website at northernhighlands.org/referendum. And it has all of this information in it. So if you're interested, a little light Friday night reading, please feel free to pull all that information up and you can see it firsthand. In the classroom, you'll see a picture of our existing art classroom, and you can tell it's 55 years old. One of our 2 ceramics kilns is broken and has been for 6 or 7 years. And then on the right, you can see how we're reimagining it to much cleaner, much more modern space for our art students. And there are 2 art rooms as well as the kiln room that are being proposed in updating. The next piece, interior of the school, is our TVP program. We are starting to really build out that TVP program, and they're doing sideline reporting for our sporting events, and they're doing graduation, and they're doing a morning TV show, a YouTube channel, and wonderful stuff they're doing. And the equipment that's in their present area was donated about 20-something years ago. So the lighting and the room and the equipment is antiquated. So we're proposing updating the room and the lighting. And you'll see a picture of that on the left-hand side, the picture with the ladder. I don't know why we took the picture with the ladder there, but the picture with the ladder, that is our present location. And on the right picture, you'll see that's how we reimagine it. So it's much more like a real studio experience. And then we're going to get some sideline equipment so that they can actually do sideline reporting and fulfill the YouTube channel that they're developing. So Great stuff there from that program. So we talked about before the fitness center being relocated and those becoming rooms. The next slide is a viewing of that. We also have the ability out of that to add 2 offices into that area. As a part of our updates to the academic programs over the last couple of years, we've added a ton of new programs. Our Option 2 program with internships and community service and college courses, our wellness program. And along with those, we added our instructional coaches. Instructional coaches go into classrooms and help teachers develop their skills, firsthand experience. They're our master teachers. And this would be an area in which those instructional coaches are able to work with teachers on developing their skills. So we're very excited to be able to actually add some space for those instructional coaches to develop that information. But we do get the classrooms and we get those 4, and then we also get 2 offices. That's how large that fitness center is right now. And the fitness center in the new building will be the exact size. We basically built it to be the same square footage. So we're just moving it to the new location. The next piece is the planetarium.
Sorry, can you just tell me there's 4 classrooms that are
Yes.
being created?
There's 2 there.
Uh-huh.
What we did was presently we have what we call a freshman seminar program. That is a team taught program with a business teacher and an English teacher and 35 students in it. So each of those 2 classrooms each period, it's a mandated course for all freshmen. They take up 2 classrooms each. And so between those 2 classes, that's 4 classes a day. What they want to do is actually design larger classes so that they're not sharing classes next to each other. They're going to design it out so that it's a singular classroom. So we're creating 2. If you look at the square footage of each of those classes, I think there's 1,600 square feet or somewhere in that range. We're creating 2 very large classrooms in which our freshman literacy classes will go. And then we're going to reclaim those old 4 classes that they were in.
So you're not building, you're creating 2 classrooms
Yes.
that will free up 4 classrooms.
You can
in
see
the
where
school.
in
I
the
get it
old
now.
plan, the doors were,
Yes.
and we've closed them up to create 2 large classrooms because we're gonna take back the old 4 classrooms to become classes.
I just feel
Yeah.
like it's good as we talk to the public too, like, because if you look at these
Oh,
plans, it
absolutely.
looks like I'm like 2 classrooms. How can I
Yeah.
have 4 classrooms? But it's because the way that the scheduling will be done, it will allow 4 classrooms to be able to be.
Yeah,
utilized.
you know the old classrooms that have the sliding doors that
Mhm.
separate them?
Yep.
Those are the classrooms we've put the freshman literacy in because
Right.
they need that large space.
Right.
So we're going to close those no sliding doors. We're going to close them up permanently and actually create 2 classrooms since there's 2 doors in each one of those rooms, which will allow us to reclaim 4 regular size classrooms. And the freshman literacy classes, which every freshman has to take, will have these modernized larger classes designed specifically for that program. So it's a win for that program and it's a win to reclaim the 4 classroom space in return. But that's a great question. So
Just a
thank you
good
for clarifying.
clarification,
Yep.
because I think we're looking for the positive side to
Right.
things. At least in
I
my mind.
I appreciate that.
Thanks.
The planetarium, as we move to that, is a wonderful space and it's used by our elementary schools. It's open to the public, but the projector is now over 12 years old. And as we know with technology, a 12-year-old projector or a 12-year-old TV or a 12-year-old anything electronic computer is just not what the technology is nowadays. So we're looking to replace the projector in the planetarium and replace it with a nice brand new digital projector. So that will bulletproof that projector for the next decade plus. And then we're going to do some minor improvements in there, but we replaced the seating and we've done a lot of work in there already. So in that room, it's actually nominal work. It's the projector is the main core addition that we'll be adding to that classroom. And then finally, probably the biggest project we're looking at is the media center. And we have a beautiful media center, 2 floors, and it's wide open. But again, it has not really been updated in probably 50 years, other than some new chairs every now and then. So we're going to completely gut both the first and second floor. We actually have the old stacks in the back that really aren't used anymore. We're going to create in the back where the stacks are. We're going to take all those stacks out and create a conference area where students can meet and make a little bit more noise and meet as a group, and classes can meet as a group. And then there are 2 rooms that are offices now, and we're going to take those 2, which is the dark blue on this, and actually make those quiet rooms. So those students who want to work in a quiet area that's soundproofed, they will have an area that they can go into and not be disrupted. And then on the front, which is a lot of chairs right now, we're going to create mini stacks. So we're not getting rid of all the books. We're moving some of them to the 2nd floor and some of them to the 1st floor. But we are one-to-one as a district now, and every student has their computer, and we're going to be updating our ebook catalog to also provide most of these books accessible through ebooks. And that'll provide the students with an opportunity to sign them out over the summer or on the weekend, automatic returns, no losses, no damage to the books, and so forth. So you'll see some pictures of what the library looks like now, and then some pictures of what we anticipate the library will look like. We also threw in a couple of slides of what other libraries that we went to look like, and you'll see that they're very modern, very clean, very warm and enticing for students to go to and use. And that's how we want our media center to look, the students wanting to be there and spending time within there. So we're looking to completely modernize. So what does this cost? Where do we go from here? Well, basically, as I mentioned before, we're looking at about 8.8 million with a million, basically $1,100,000 that the state has agreed to assist us with, which brings it down to 7.7, and then using about 500,000 capital reserve, which gets us to about 7.2 on the referendum. With the offgoing referendum bonds that are presently on for the science wing, if you look at the slide that says understanding the debt service aid, and this is again on our website for those at home that if you want to take a look at this, right now in Allendale, which is the blue, and again, we have this for both Allendale and Upper Saddle River because it affects both towns. Allendale is the blue. Right now, your debt service per year is $256.15. That goes towards the high school. The proposed tax impact is going to be $219.92. So we'll be able to get this project, and you're actually going to see a reduction in what you're paying on your taxes by $36.22, which, like I said before, is about $3 per month. Not much money, but you're going to see your taxes go down, and the district is going to futurize the school for future generations to come. So in our opinion, this timing, the needs, all they just aligned, and we believe that this is the right project at the right time for both our communities. So that is the presentation. I'm hoping I kept it to the timeline. I promised you I tried to. I went relatively fast, but if there are any questions, I'm more than happy. Dr. Prince is more than happy to answer anything that anyone may have.
No, I can tell you, I can speak for the board and tell you how excited the entire board is for this project. And we already know how respected and where Northern Highlands sits in this state, even in this country. And this takes us up to a whole new level.
Right.
I mean, the buildings and grounds improvement and the internal improvement is just going to be tremendous. We're very excited about it. I know I'm speaking to the choir here.
You are. And I do want to say, Dr. Beckman, I mean, you've always, for as long as I've either been mayor or on the council, I mean, you've reached out. You're not in a silo or in a vacuum. You and I discussed the tennis courts on numerous occasions. You said, I want the council to know, I want the borough to know, you want everyone to know. So yeah, you're not doing this in a vacuum. And I know we are one of many stops along the way. So I commend you for having such a great presentation and taking the steps to make everyone aware of it.
I appreciate that, and we certainly are available. We created the website I had mentioned, northernhighlands.org/referendum. It's got all this information on it. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. I think it sells itself, so transparency is actually a good thing for us. And we will be doing some voiceover presentations that will be available. The board meeting in January for Northern Highlands, as well as other stops. So if anybody online or anybody here has any questions along the way, reach out to us. We'll answer every question to the best of our ability.
Great.
I just have a quick question about Ho Hocus. I remember there was a formula how they paid with tuition and then that kind of expired and there was a new one. How does their
Right.
tuition. factor into
When you
this.
do send receive relationship contracts, they're 10-year contracts.
Mm.
We signed the new 10-year contract with Ho-Hocus about 4 years ago, and we structured it differently. It was let me first preface that by saying Saddle River and Ho-Hocus are much different in the way we structured the contracts, because Saddle River, we don't get all the kids. Some of them go to Ramsey.
Mhm.
But since we get all of Ho-Hocus's students, we had structured the contract where we took the student population and we took the debt service and we rolled it into a singular yearly formula in which then we get 2% raises on. So we no longer charge them by students, and all the debt service and the student tuition is rolled into a base number, which, by the way, I just don't remember that number
Mhm.
offhand for this year. But because of that, they do not have any piece of the debt service interest, which is the only piece you're allowed to charge them because it's built into this base salary. They had asked us to do that because the numbers fluctuated year to year, and by having a base number, they were able to budget more easily. And so were we, by the way,
Yeah.
because now we know the number coming in, and I'm not going, what are the kids? And it's times 14, 15,000, and it's just much easier to budget. In Saddle River, we didn't put the numbers in here, but they will be responsible for a piece of the debt service as the interest as per their contract. But that's so nominal, the interest at the rates that are out there, that we just felt it wasn't important to put those in the numbers because it will not offset anything that we're talking about.
Okay,
Thanks.
good. Does anyone on the council have any other questions? No.
What's the current population in the school?
We have 1406. As of today, internal within the building, we're about 1420. We do lose students to private school and to the academies, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why it's important for us to keep up on our facilities, because we are in competition with other, and the academies just noted they were going to open a CTE program in the next couple of years. And right now we're over 1,400. When I got here 7 years ago, we were about 1,300. So we've gone up about 100 in the last 7 years. And with all the new building, we anticipate another 100 to 150 within the next decade.
Have you looked at some of the costs? I mean, you no longer have to do field maintenance, right? Once we have a synthetic field. I don't know how much that is, but also even the porta potties and the
Mhm.
renting and all those types of things, just as long-term costs. That is something I would think would be valuable just to, from a monetary perspective.
To be completely transparent, it is very valuable to us. We actually hire a company to do our fields. So I know exactly what it costs to mow our fields. They come in twice a week and so forth. But there are costs that are associated with the improvement we're looking at. So we, every couple of years, you actually have to re-rubber the fields and stuff like that. So we will be restructuring where the costs go, and, the maintenance will go down, but the parts will go up, and the repairs on the projector in the planetarium obviously will go down because it'll be under warranty and brand new. But we're looking at adding some additional pieces. I'd mentioned we were trying to increase the TVP program and what they do within the district. So we're looking at getting an LCD scoreboard for them so they can do sideline reporting on the large scoreboard as opposed to the. So we're going to be moving money around to continually enhance the program. In my 7 years at Northern Highlands, we've been able to do about $25 million in projects without going out for a referendum because we've been able to move a lot of things around, including the tennis courts and redoing the track and the turf and, the solar panels and new windows and everything else. So the reason why I don't work those into here is because I'm going to pigeoneer them for another area at Highlands to make that area even better as well.
But that's positive. I mean, to my mind, spending money on investing in other projects. is a good
Yeah, the
thing.
problem with facilities is if you don't keep up on it, there's no way to catch up.
Right.
So we keep up on the facilities every single year. We haven't, we discussed it with the police department last year, but the town council's not aware. We're putting in a sidewalk on West Crescent this year. So the students will be able to walk safely in the road that's right now does not have a sidewalk. And so as we continually upgrade the facilities, it's not just beautification, it's safety, it's practicality, it's everything that goes with it. So so we're going to take that money and we're going to do other projects with it to make it an even more spectacular campus.
I know we only have a minute, but
No.
West Crescent
No.
sidewalk, it's 7:59.
No.
West Crescent
Safety.
sidewalk, huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Where,
Amy.
where is that? What part?
You know where the baseball and softball field over here are?
Yeah.
That's West Crescent, right? Am I
Yes,
correct
right.
on the road? West Maple, I'm sorry.
West Maple, you're putting
Yeah,
sidewalks.
we're gonna go all the
Oh.
way from where our property starts, all the way to around the softball field by the
Okay,
parking
so
lot.
it's not West, okay, it's
Um,
West Maple.
The West Maple's the other side, right?
That's all right, you can email.
Yeah,
me.
okay,
I was
You go
gonna
West-
say,
you
where's
go
the-
West Maple on the right side, it just stops. Right,
Uh,
correct,
and then you're gonna continue it up to the softball field.
correct.
Yeah.
We're,
that's good.
well, it actually, it stops actually on town property about a couple hundred feet before the school starts.
Right.
So we're gonna go all the way from the road, all the way up around, past the softball field towards the parking lot. Because right now students walk in the street or they go all the way out to the curb and then they go all the way around by the front entrance. So, but what we're talking about with the money that we'd save in certain areas, we're using that to then do projects in other areas. So it is definitely a benefit to the district. But the calculation of that, and it has been done, is not worked into this because it's going to go elsewhere.
And
So-
my
We
last
have no more
question is
questions.
just, where do we email you for questions? What is the best email to just email you on the website?
There is a link on the website, but anybody can email me directly. It's Beckerman, B as in boy, ECKERMAN, S as in Scott, at northernhighlands.org, and they'll go directly to me. So I will be more than happy to take any emails that anybody has.
So to the both of you, thank you. When you turn around, don't be alarmed. Half of the Allendale Police Department is behind you. They filtered in after you started, so.
They know we're doing the sidewalk.
Yeah. So they're all here for something else, but to both of you for everything you've done.
Thank you very much.
much.
Very
We
informative.
appreciate it.
Great.
There are extra presentations up here if anybody wants to take a
Awesome, thank
copy.
you.
Good.
Sounds great.
Right.
Before
So,
we adjourn, do we have to open to the public? 'Cause we
yeah, I guess so, because we need to do it 3 times. Can I just extend it? Can I?
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm gonna do it in the regular session. I'm gonna, yeah. So 8:02, I am going to look to adjourn the work session. So I'd request a motion to adjourn the work session.
So moved, Holman.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. Okay. The time is now, and Michelle, thank you for that. We'll make sure that we cover everyone and when we open to the public. The time is now 8:02, and this is the December 16, 2021 regular session of the Allendale Mayor and Council. Welcome to everyone who's joining us tonight in person at Borough Hall and via Zoom. At this time, please mute your devices so as not to distract from the business of the meeting. There will be 2 opportunities to speak, but because we didn't have the public comment during the work session, I will make sure if anyone wants to speak that we'll get to them as early as possible. Michelle, please read the Open Public Meetings Act announcement.
Sure. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. Meeting dates for the year confirmed at the annual meeting are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year, and copies are sent to the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the December 14, 2021 sunshine notice was sent to the record, the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and borough website.
Great, thank you. If you can all please rise with me to salute the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan. Here. Councilman O'Connell.
Here.
Councilman O'Toole.
Here.
Councilman Sasso.
Here.
Councilman Strouch.
Here.
Councilman Wilsinski. Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Here.
And Mayor Bernstein.
Here. Okay, next is presentation of proclamation for George Sherb, Chief of Police, which is a bittersweet moment for me, and I know for a lot of us. I knew this day was coming, and I tried to prevent it or forestall it or delay it a couple times. I'm going to read a proclamation. Everyone's going to have an opportunity to speak, but as the mayor, I'm going to go first. I've worked side by side with Chief Sherb for 15 years. First as on the council, I think I chaired public safety, my first committee, and I was in awe of then the sergeant and all of the members of the police department. When you were the sergeant, a sergeant under Chief Herndon. Later when I became mayor and you chief, and I think over the course of the 15 years, you and I became, to me, and more than just colleagues, but a friend. And I cherish and value that friendship. And I've acknowledged that I've called upon it a couple times. And every time you've answered the bell, and every time I've called you, you picked up the phone, and I asked for your help, and you were there. So this is bittersweet for me, but life goes on. You're valued in the community and beyond. That comes as no surprise to anyone. You've always been very protective of your department, and I thought that I appreciated that. You've been in Allendale. You were born, Allendale, a resident of Allendale, grew up here, so I know this has been, a lifetime of service, but it came from the heart. It was never just a job. So I'm not considering this proclamation a goodbye in any stretch. You're not getting off that easy. Tonight, this proclamation is evidence of the borough's collective thank you for a job well done and for your fantastic service to Allendale. So Chief Sherb, thank you very much. So I'm going to read a proclamation. I'm going to present you with something, and then if anyone wants to speak after that, you're more than welcome to. Proclamation in honor of Police Chief George Chip Sherb. Whereas George Chip Sherb has admirably served the residents of Allendale, his childhood hometown, for 48 years. Whereas Chip began his service as a junior firefighter with the Allendale Volunteer Fire Department in 1974, becoming a regular firefighter in 1976, lieutenant in 1980 and 1981, and captain in 1982. And whereas Chip's service extended through each branch of Allendale's first responders, when in 1977, he became a member of the Allendale Volunteer Ambulance Corps, as well as a part-time dispatcher for the Allendale Police Department. And whereas he began his career with the Allendale Police Department as a patrol officer in 1984, rising to the rank of sergeant of the department in 1996. And whereas he continued his dedication to protecting the residents of Allendale by successfully completing the West Point Command and Leadership Program in 1997. And whereas in 2011, with the confidence and support of the mayor and council, he was promoted to chief of the Allendale Police Department, exemplifying the leadership he has shown throughout his career. And whereas as chief, he led the department to become accredited by the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police in 2016 and reaccredited in 2019. A prestigious achievement acknowledging standards of excellence within police departments. And whereas during his tenure, Chief Sherb stressed the importance of community involvement by expanding the relationship with residents and businesses through programs like Touch a Truck, Coffee with a Cop, Junior Police Academy, Tweet-alongs, virtual ride-alongs, and the Chief for a Day program. And whereas over 40 years of service to the borough, after over 40 years of service to the borough of Allendale, Chief Sherb will be embarking on a well-earned retirement on December 31st. Now, therefore, we, the governing body, on behalf of the residents of the borough of Allendale, on this 16th day of December 2021, hereby acknowledge with gratitude George Chip Sherb's dedicated service to the borough of Allendale and wish him all the best in his future endeavors. I know that I had to twist your arm a little bit to come here tonight, and because you don't want the spotlight, but it's well deserved, and we didn't want to let you go off into the sunset without acknowledging, everything that you've done. Thank you.
Yes, enjoy your retirement.
So, okay. Yeah, so why don't you come up, your family, department, the council, we have this, we have the proclamation, and we also have something to give to you. So, because I know after that, you're out and you're gonna go to dinner, so you don't want to wait for the rest of the meeting.
We got a men and women to come up front, please. Wherever you want, whatever. I just want a picture of the chief and Mr. Sheriff, but I just want all our staff up here. So actually, yeah, take the picture so there's.
Thought if you like that backdrop better.
Highway.
Sorry.
We already talked.
It's wonderful.
You want to present?
Do you want to present the plaque or do you want all the staff? Yeah, right. Your left. You guys left. There we go. One with the left, Chief with the right. All right.
You never know. Good. So now you guys in the police department, and then you'll take one with the mayor and council as well.
Wide angle now.
You got us all. I got the line. 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Bob. Great.
I wish you all the best. It was a pleasure working with you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you. Thanks again, Chief.
The box and the.
Awesome. Sorry, guys.
Good messaging too today, the social media stuff is good.
Okay, so since we didn't have, I didn't open the meeting to the public in the work session on any issue, I will do so now before I open the public on agenda items only. So is there anyone that wishes to be heard on anything? Not related to the agenda,
And anything.
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 Walter Whitmer, 38 Hamilton. I had the experience recently, met an individual living in our town. And somehow we got talking about streetlights. And she asked me personally if I would ask you Is there a mechanism by which an individual, citizen Allendale, can make a request, a complaint, whatever you want to call it, regarding streetlights?
Yes, we've received those complaints before. Is it the absence of one or one that is shining too brightly or one that's shining into her bedroom? Do you know what the genesis or the?
Well, it's very bright. I personally had that experience and Ron helped me. with
That's
it.
right. So by all means, they can reach out, they can send an email to Michelle, our borough clerk, telling us what the issue is, and if we can address it, we'll certainly respond, and if we can address it, we will. Or if we reach out to the appropriate utility
Yeah,
company.
I just ran into a resident that had asked me about a bright streetlight and we took it and Ron's already communicated with Rockland Electric, so hopefully it will be taken care of more.
I noticed since this was brought to my attention, and I looked, a number of streetlights in our town are still the old, sodium lights. And only a few are the new ones. Are they replacing the ones that burn out with the new, or what's going on? What's
I wish
procedure?
Ron was here to help me answer this question. So I'm not, I believe that ideally, the newer lights are more energy efficient. And they have, but sometimes some of those lights do seem, and they're actually brighter, which in some cases can be helpful, to illuminate perhaps an area where somebody may be walking at night. In some places, people have felt that they have been too illuminating. And so, when that's occurred, we've tried to work with Rockland Electric to get some sort of a less illuminating light. So it's a work in progress, I think is what I'd say, but the idea was that the newer lights are more energy efficient and last longer.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're waiting for them to burn out to replace them. I don't think.
I don't know. I'll have to look into
I think they
that.
might just be replacing lights that are still working with those, because I just had one replaced in front of my house a year ago. And it wasn't burnt out. That I remember. I could be wrong. They're very good, by the way, at
They're very bright, no question.
they're very
about it.
good at ones that are burnt out. You can report it online really easily, and they're quick. They're Johnny on the spot. At least that's been my experience about getting them back up and running.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Not seeing anyone. Before I go to get into the agenda, which is before I ask for the public comment on agenda items, does any member of the council have any questions on the agenda? Okay, not seeing anyone. I now open to the public on any comments on the agenda items. Not seeing anyone. I will close that portion of the meeting to the public. And now we have ordinance for second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 2113, ordinance granting consent and permission to Suez Water, New Jersey, Inc. to furnish water treatment, storage, and conveyance service in the borough of Allendale. There were minor changes that were requested to be made. They were de minimis in nature to ordinance 2113. The governing body has had the opportunity to review the proposed changes, correct? Yes. The borough attorney and special counsel have confirmed that the changes are de minimis and do not require reintroduction or renoticing, and that the adoption of the ordinance tonight can proceed. So I'm going to Michelle to conduct a roll call. Oh, so Michelle, please read the ordinance by title.
Sure. The following ordinance published herewith was first read by title only on December 2nd, 2021, and posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the municipal building and borough website. This is ordinance 21-13, an ordinance granting consent and permission to Suez Water, New Jersey, Inc. to furnish water treatment, storage, and conveyance service in the borough of Allendale, New Jersey. I'll conduct a roll.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry. We
So-
need a
wait,
motion
so
and a
I'm
second.
going- Wait, hold on one sec. You've read the title. I'm going to open the floor for public comment on ordinance 2113 as amended. Not seeing anyone. So now I'm going to request a council member to make a motion to move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinance 21-13. Notice of same shall be published according to law.
So moved. Holman.
Great. I would request a second.
Second.
Okay,
Sasso.
thank you. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso,
Yes.
Councilman Strouch,
I'm sorry about that. Yes, Michelle, yes.
and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Next, we move to the consent agenda. No one had any questions. I would request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second.
Second O'Connell.
Thank you, Ed. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso.
Yes.
Councilman Strouch,
Yes,
and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great. Any unfinished business? Any new business? Okay, now we will go to committee reports. Councilman O'Connell.
Yes, we had a long public safety meeting on December 7th. It was a limited agenda. We did talk about a couple of issues with the lighted street lights, the crosswalks. Hopefully we'll be getting them soon. And, calls into the borough were 15,260. 911 calls were 2,184. Fire department calls were 198, and AVAC calls were 501. That is as of about 4:30 this afternoon. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Councilman Sasso.
Thank you. The land use committee, we thought we had our last meeting earlier this month, but we had to have a quick ad hoc meeting last night at 7 PM. It was easy because the land use board, which is different than the committee, met last night at 7:30. So we had a quick meeting, really just some housekeeping items, development bond, not too exciting stuff, but necessary. And it was a good meeting. And then the land use board met at 7:30 and also was a pretty lively session, a lot of stuff, all good going on, and that's it.
Great.
And then we'll have to set a schedule for 22.
Yep. Thank you very much. Councilwoman Homan.
So the first thing I'd like to just bring up is ensuring that people saw posted on the website and on our Facebook page, the important message about COVID-19 ratepayer relief measures. So it's something we wanted to make sure the public was aware of. They do at this point expire January 1st, 2022, but all the information is on our website and our Facebook page, I believe. So that's the one part. And then secondly, tonight, I'm glad before my report was going to be early, but thank you very much for passing the ordinance of 21-13. So that moves us, one step forward to having Suez actually acquire our system. And on that, we're working still to complete some of the exhibit documents. And I just again thank our water team. And last thing, the NJDEP had some follow-up questions on our temporary treatment application, and those have been sent back with responses to NJDEP, and I assume we'll have an approval shortly.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Wozinski.
Yes. I have a short report tonight. We did our senior bags this week. They were assembled and they were distributed to our seniors, most of them. Some of them are still on the way. I want to say special thanks to Councilwoman Homan, Mayor Emeritus White, future Councilwoman Suzanne Levisolo, Police Officer Jamie Hillgartner, and the donations from the Allendale Circle of Support and Catherine Shaw, who organized all that. It is a wonderful program that we do for our seniors. They enjoy it tremendously. A lot of them want to come out and speak. So it's something that we started last year because of COVID, and we're going to continue it, I think, in the years to come. And I just wanted to also mention I sent an email out when we were delivering, we found out that Frida Falke did pass away. She was our oldest, I believe, Allendale resident. We honored her for her 100-year birthday here. So she just passed away less than a week ago. So her daughter wanted me to pass that on to everybody.
Didn't
And-
we give her her own day?
Pardon?
Didn't we give her her own day?
I think a key to the city. We honored her here.
I
It
thought we
was-
gave her her own day.
Did we?
too. I
You
just
know, we
don't
should look
remember
that
what
up.
day it was.
The arrangements actually are, I think they're going to be in January. And then Michelle just mentioned actually that the poinsettias on the dais were all donated by Rossler. So Rossler's Nursery. So I just wanted to shout out.
Oh,
to
how
them.
nice.
And that's it for me.
Thank you, Councilman O'Toole.
I too have a short report this evening. Not a whole
Great,
lot.
Councilman Strouch.
Perfect.
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't that short.
Other than the usual, which is always rather significant, not a lot going on, some year-end housekeeping, hence the cancellation of some checks and budget transfers. We did have a quick meeting last week to discuss the mandatory updates to the personnel and policies and procedures manual. And at this point, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the tremendous effort put into this manual by Michelle. It was a huge lift, and as usual, she did a fantastic job. So thanks, Michelle.
It will make difference. Thank you, though. It was.
That's great. And my parents got their bags yesterday.
Oh,
It was
good.
the first thing they said when they saw me last night.
Yeah.
We got our bags.
I know, I did ring their doorbell.
I
Thought I
know,
could have a
heard all
chat.
about
Thank you.
Good.
You're all done? Good. And now, 2 weeks ago, I was a meeting premature, but Councilman Strouch, I do believe that this may be,
He'll be at the sign
You're
die.
was that?
He'll be at the sign die.
We get him one more time.
Do it? You get him? Are you going to be around for the sign die meeting?
Yes, I will.
Oh, good. So I don't have to say goodbye. I don't like saying goodbyes as evidenced, by my proclamation before. So, so give us your second to last report.
Thank you, Mayor Bernstein. As you and the council may remember, I've been using the borough website as a tool for getting information for anything I need to know about Allendale and through it, Bergen County and New Jersey, whether it's the Board of Health stuff or other. And as a matter of fact, it's how I now contact either Michelle or the Borough Hall if I have a concern, complaint, or just want to report a pothole in the street. I go to the borough website, the homepage, upper right area has a report a concern, and it gets taken care of. And I know that other residents have started using it. So when in doubt, go to the borough website. Chances are it's there. And if you can't, then I think calling the borough office is a fine backup. But the monthly newsletter that comes out is also a wealth of information. We've wrapped up our leaf collection program, and I think it was a success. I think the residents were cooperative and appreciative that the bagged leaves are being taken away from their curbside. I know I was. I know I'll be using the Christmas tree collection in the first couple of weeks of January. So once you're done with the Christmas tree, get it out curbside, and it will be turned into mulch in a responsible way. And also in both the borough website and the December newsletter that came out, there's updates on the green team and the styrofoam collection events that are going to be coming up. So I can't stress enough to everybody, the more I use the borough website, the more I appreciate it. As I said before, there's a wealth of information there. So it's become my first go-to before I call people. Though this may be my second to last DPW report, I'm going to treat it in a way as such because this Sindai meeting on January 3rd is going to be me transferring my seat as far as I'm concerned to Suzanne Lovasolo, and I'm looking forward to that. I appreciate everything that the DPW, the team, Ron, Dan Richards, and everybody has done and will continue to do once I'm off the council. Short of the backup in at the Borough Hall, there haven't been any emergencies that they've had to jump over to, but they are getting the town ready for the coming winter. I did see the street sweeper out again. They're just doing the behind the scene essential services that help keep Allendale running as smoothly as it has been, Ari, during your tenure as mayor. So thank you to the DPW. Thank you to you, Ari, and the entire council.
Councilman Strouch, Jim, thank you so much. Thank you for your report. Mayor's report, the December edition of Allendale Happenings newsletter went out last week and is posted on the borough website. As always, it's full of good information. If you do not receive our constant contact emails, please sign up at allendalenj.gov. You can also sign up to receive emergency notifications as well through SwiftReach. Be sure to like the borough's Facebook page with Allendale NJ Borough. With winter officially beginning on Tuesday, these are the best ways to receive timely information. And next month, the borough will be expanding to Twitter and Instagram, so be sure to check for updates on that. As Councilman Strouch had mentioned, be on the lookout for the 2022 garbage and recycling newsletter, which will be delivered to your mailboxes during the last week of December. We hope everyone will join us for the sign die meeting on Monday, January 3rd, 2021 at 7 o'clock. And then 30 minutes later, we will have the reorganization meeting at 7:30 here. 2021 was another year that tested all of us in many ways. We look forward to 2022 with great anticipation of good things to come. On behalf of the governing body, I wish those who celebrate a very Merry Christmas and to everyone a safe and healthy New Year. That's the mayor's report. Attorney Ray Wiss.
No formal report. Just want to echo your comments, Mayor. This being our last meeting. Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and Happy Holidays to everyone.
Thank you very much. Michelle, any report?
Same Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, and we'll see you on January 3rd.
Great, thank you. Ron went home. He's not here. Is Lissa on? She's not here.
Not on.
Okay. Tyler, anything to add?
No, other than our new phone system will hopefully be going live on Monday. That's the scheduled time. So hopefully the next council meeting, I'll have a positive report to share.
Looking
We're
forward to that.
anticipating it. So.
Thank you for all your work with that. Open the floor to the public on any matter at all. Not seeing anyone. I would request a motion to adjourn the regular session.
So moved.
Thank you, Amy. Second.
Second O'Connell.
Thank you, Ed. All in favor?
Bye.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Jim.
Bye, Jim.